Really have to reconsider our ideas about anatomy. I'm going to get a little geeky here, but really the idea of studying ourselves and studying our insides came up during the Renaissance, starting around 1200 AD and continuing up into the 15 and 1600s until we'd really established the kind of anatomical picture that you and I have learned now. Muscles move bones, the nervous system is like a computer, the heart system is a pump pumping things around, the circulatory system. That whole idea came up between 1200 and 1500, and the way we went about doing that was to do dissections. And when we started doing dissections, which was a very difficult thing back in those days, Vesalius, who's a hero of mine, he was one of the first people to really do this in an organized way, but Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, these people would do the same thing. They would take a knife and they would cut the skin. They would do the same thing that they would do when they were butchering an animal. They were going to look inside the human in the same way that they looked inside a deer or a boar or something that they were cutting up for meat. And in doing so with a human being, you end up cutting up the fascial system. You end up cutting up the fabric of the body into identifiable parts. I don't know how many of you have ever been inside a dissection lab. I have done it every year for the last 10. And it's a mess in there. A human body is just an incredibly complicated mess. So my hat is off to all the anatomists from Vesalius to Frank Netter who have made the body understandable by having these beautiful pictures of the muscles exposed by taking away all the fascia. But it doesn't give you a real picture of what anatomy is like. And we now have reached the end of this, and we really need to take a different picture. So imagine that we went, it's equivalent to what happened when we thought that the Earth was the center of the universe and the sun goes around the Earth and the moon goes around the Earth. And then the mathematics of it, as we learned more and more and more, the mathematics of it got so much more complicated that boom, when Copernicus, Galileo had this idea, oops, well, actually the sun is the center of our solar system and the Earth is going around the sun and the moon's going around the Earth. All the mathematics fell into place. Everything started working. So we've taken this idea of anatomy that we got from these kinds of scalpel-based dissections, individual muscles, that the biceps pulls these two bones together and therefore does this. We've taken that to its logical extreme. But now we have to have a more holistic view of anatomy to really understand movement, to really understand the chemistry of the body, and to really understand the nervous system. All three of those systems, those three major systems that we deal with, need this new understanding. And so if I could imagine that I went back to Vesalius's lab in Padua, Italy, and snuck back in my time machine and stole all his scalpels and his cleavers and his blades and left instead a big vat of detergent or solvent of some kind, and then if he came in and he took the body and he put that in the solvent instead of cutting it up with a knife, and the solvent dissolved away all the cell stuff, I don't know what solvent this would be, but just imagine, he would take out the body as a whole, seen as a kind of fabric home for all the cells. And that provides the mechanical environment in our body. And that is the whole truth. That is the actual scientific truth, is the holism of the thing. And all these divisions of thoracolumbar fascia and central tendon of the diaphragm and Achilles tendon and this muscle and that particular piece bit is all what we've done with a knife. The actual physical, scientific reality is the whole.